You don't look like an Aikido master.
I'm not. I'm just an old guy who's been doing Aikido for about 40 years. But let's try something. Punch me in the stomach, hard. So that's a taste of Aikido.
Okay, you're good at that.
Well, it's a little taste. I've been doing it for a long time.
But I heard you're actually a Sufi.
Yeah?
So what's the difference between being a Sufi and being a Muslim?
Sit down. Let me tell you about it. Islam, as many religions are, is focused on outer practice. How do you pray? How do you act morally and ethically in the world? Whereas Sufism is like the world's great mystical traditions, it's about inner experience. My old Sufi master told me, anyone can learn to pray, anyone can learn the outer ritual of prayer, but Sufism means to develop a heart that can pray.
That's interesting. I just don't really understand what you mean by that.
Well, can you pray from the inside? Can you pray with gratitude, with love in your heart, with a sense of connection to the divine? Not just go through the outer motions.
How do you do it?
Lots of practice. One of the things is to practice gratitude, to think about all the gifts we've been given, to be grateful for what we've got.
It's hard to feel gratitude when you're being presented with something you don't want.
Yeah, but it's only your ego that doesn't want it. That's the biggest obstacle to your happiness, is your ego. Let me tell you an old Sufi story. Years ago, a farmer and his wife came to a spiritual teacher, and they said, "Master, we're miserable. We have 3 kids, we have a small house, 1 room. There's not enough space for all of us, and we don't have money to build anything bigger. What can we do?" So he said, "Well, do you have chickens?" And they said, "Yeah, we're farmers, we have chickens. Bring the chickens into the house. Come see me in a week." A week later, they come, and they're kind of disheveled and upset, and they said, "Our life is much worse now. The chickens are all over the place. It's a mess in the house." He said, "Do you have a goat?" "Yeah." "Put the goat in the house and see me next week." They come back kind of angry and upset, but they did what the teacher said, and they said, "It's horrible in the house. The goat's eating the furniture. He's chewing on our clothes. It's awful. Do you have a cow?" "Oh my God," they said. "Yes." He said, "Put the cow in the house and see me next week." They come back to the master, and they're miserable. And they said, this is just hell. This is horrible." He said, "Well, now take them all out and see me next week." And they came back smiling, beaming, and they said, "We have so much room. It's such a pleasure to be in our house. It's heaven." Now, what was in the way? In the way was their judgmental ego, that which wanted more. That's the biggest enemy of our happiness. If you want to be happy, nobody and nothing can stop you from being happy. If you choose to be unhappy, nobody and nothing can stop you from being unhappy.
So it's a choice.
There's an old saying in Islam, a revelation through the Prophet Muhammad, peace and blessings upon him. God says, "There are 70,000 veils between you and me, but there are no veils between me and you." Those 70,000 veils are actually veils that we put over our own souls. So the light, the joy, the happiness, if you will, of the soul is not available to us. Not because it's not there, but because we've covered over with our concern with other people's opinions, our running after things of the world that are all ephemeral.
Well, how can I uncover my soul?
Veil by veil. We have a deep narcissism in us, all of us. We have much too much self-love and not enough love of other people. In fact, our self-love gets in the way of our really loving anybody else. We need to love ourselves less in that narcissistic way and love others more. Narcissus, if you may remember your Greek mythology, was a man who couldn't love. He refused the love of the nymph Echo, and for that he was cursed by falling in love with himself. After that curse, he came to a lake. He saw his reflection in the lake, and he was so enamored of his own reflection, he couldn't look at anything else. And so he sat looking at his reflection and starved to death. And eventually he was transformed into the flower, the narcissus. Now, the scary thing is we're all a little bit like Narcissus. We starve ourselves to death from real emotional nourishment. We starve ourselves of real love. And so many of the veils are connected to this essential narcissism that we all have. I'll give you a simple recipe for being happier. Serve other people more. But love them and serve them. Don't serve out of a sense of duty or a sense of, well, if I do this, I'll get something back. But to truly care for other people. My old Sufi master used to say, the world is your spiritual enemy if you put it between yourself and God. The world is your spiritual friend if it reminds you of the divine. I mean, every rainbow can remind you of divine beauty. That which makes us unhappy is in us. It's not out there. And it's that ego of ours, that selfish, self-centered. That ego means in Latin, by the way, it means I. It's that which is separate from the rest of the world. To the extent that we think of ourselves as separate from everyone else, and we feel lonely. The more we get over that, the more we see that we're essentially part of the world in deep and profound ways. What you're longing for deep down is what I'm longing for. And that if I can touch that part of you, I also awaken and enliven that same part of me. That's a very different way of relating than the usual way in which we relate. The great old Jewish philosopher Martin Buber put it really well. He said, most people live in a world of I-it relationships. We treat other people as objects to manipulate, to get whatever we can from them. The real relationship, he said, is an I-thou relationship. Thou meaning we see the divine in the other. We relate to the other in the same way we would relate to God or to a great saint if we met them. But we can have that relationship with everybody. My suggestion to you is to gain a greater sense of remembrance, to gain a deeper connection to that deep soul, that spiritual nature of yours. Try saying Bismillah before you act. Say, in God's name, in God who is the all-merciful, God who is the source of all that's good, God who is the most compassionate of the compassionate. In your name, let me act. And I think that'll help.
Bismillah.
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 B is in, Ismi is name, Allah is God. Bismillah.
Bismillah.
Yes. And not the word, of course, is important. The meaning is important.